Most people don't want money. They want what they believe money will buy: freedom, peace, status, safety, time. And yet, paradoxically, the harder they chase money, the more enslaved they often become. You see this every day. Someone spends 80 hours a week grinding at a business they secretly despise. They tell themselves they're buying freedom. But each week, the chains only tighten. The dream of freedom retreats into the distance, like a mirage in the desert. Meanwhile, another person earns far less, but spends their days doing meaningful work, surrounded by people they respect, seeing their kids every night, sleeping deeply. Which of these two is truly rich? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The world measures wealth in numbers, but Stoicism measures wealth in the quality of your soul. Let's explore this paradox through the lens of Stoicism: what money really means, how it deceives us, and how we can build a life where wealth serves us rather than enslaves us. The chains of fear and scarcity. Let's start with fear. Fear is the most common emotion tied to money. Fear of losing it, fear of not having enough, fear of falling behind. Epictetus warned us about this. He said, "Wealth consists not in having many possessions, but in having few wants." When you live in fear, you imagine your life as fragile, always one paycheck or one market crash away from disaster. You live like a soldier constantly bracing for battle. But here's the irony. Fear rarely prevents disaster. More often, it creates it. The fearful investor panics and sells at the bottom. The fearful worker clings to a toxic job. The fearful parent sacrifices presents with their children because they believe money will secure the family, all while the family itself drifts apart. Next, scarcity. Scarcity is a mindset that whispers, "There's never enough." Not enough money, not enough time, not enough security. Even billionaires suffer from this illusion. That's why you see people with more money than they can spend in 10 lifetimes, still grinding, still anxious, still empty. The Stoics countered this with the principle of enoughness. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Enoughness doesn't mean you stop working or that you reject money. It means you realize you already have what is essential: food, shelter, companionship, health. Everything beyond that is extra. When you cultivate enoughness, your nervous system calms. You stop treating life like a desperate race. You begin to see abundance in the ordinary. Comparison, the thief of joy. The third chain is comparison. When you chase money, you inevitably compare yourself to others. Am I richer than him? Am I more successful than her? Social media intensifies this, turning our minds into endless scoreboards. But comparison has no finish line. No matter where you stand, there will always be someone above you. The Stoics knew this. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." A high money EQ shifts focus from comparison to connection. Instead of seeing others as rivals, you see them as fellow travelers. Instead of measuring your worth in status symbols, you measure it in relationships, in shared moments, in character. At the end of life, no one remembers your bank balance. They remember your presence, your love, your integrity. Escaping the money trap without escaping money. Here is the challenge. You cannot escape money. To live in the world, you need it. The question is not whether you need money, but how you relate to it. The Stoic approach is practical,
grounded. Let's apply the practices you outlined with philosophical depth. 1. Set a freedom number, not a fantasy number. Don't aim to be rich. Aim to have enough to live your values. The Stoics asked, what do you actually require for a good life? Not for status, not for vanity, for a good life. Once you know your freedom number, you stop chasing infinity. 2. Practice financial mindfulness. Where your money goes reveals your values. If you spend endlessly on distractions, you are training yourself to value escape. If you spend on meaning, on tools for your craft, on experiences with loved ones, you reinforce a life aligned with virtue. Marcus said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." The same is true of money. It takes on the color of your priorities. 3. Give some away. The Stoics believed in generosity. Seneca wrote, "No man can live happily who regards himself alone." Giving money, even small amounts, reminds you that wealth is not a stagnant object, it's a flow, a river, not a reservoir. 4. Spend on meaning, not status. Every purchase is a vote for who you are and who you want to become. If you buy to impress, you are enslaved to others' opinions. If you buy to align with your purpose, you free yourself. 5. Redefine success. Ask yourself, if I already had enough, how would I spend my time? That answer is your compass. Begin living it now in small ways. Don't postpone your life until after some imaginary payday. As Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it.
The personality of wealth. Not everyone relates to money the same way. Some people love the chase. Others wish they never had to think about it. The Stoic answer is not one size fits all. If you love the chase, chase, but do it with purpose, not compulsion. Let money be the byproduct of meaningful work, not the justification for meaningless toil. If you prefer simplicity, then simplify. Build a life where money fades into the background, not one where it dominates your attention. The key is authenticity. Seneca reminded us, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." When you live authentically, aligned with your nature, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, and yes, the right amount of money. Money as a mirror. Ultimately, money is not salvation, nor is it evil. It is a mirror. It reflects your fears, your values, your vision. If you are anxious, money magnifies your anxiety. If you are generous, money magnifies your generosity. If you are vain, money magnifies your vanity. The Stoic task is not to reject money, nor to idolize it. It is to master yourself so that money reflects your virtues, not your vices. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." True wealth is freedom, the freedom to live without fear, the freedom to spend time as you choose, the freedom to align your life with your values. You don't have to be rich to be free, but you do have to be free to truly enjoy whatever wealth you do have. Redefining richness. So, what is the Stoic definition of wealth? Not the number in your bank account, not the car in your driveway, not the title on your business card. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is enoughness. Wealth is the ability to sleep peacefully at night because your life aligns with your values. The Stoics invite us to stop asking, "How can I get rich?" and to start asking, how can I be free? When you shift from fear to purpose, from scarcity to enoughness, from comparison to connection, you don't just change your finances, you transform your experience of the world. That is real abundance. That is the Stoic path to wealth.